Whitman, Beautiful Forever University. Really excited to have a special guest. Um, Today's subject is really important, and all the med spas and the practices should be listening, and you should be sharing it with your staff. It's about what's happening now in the med spa retail business. It has zoomed and it is growing, and you need to be part of the revolution of what is going on. 2020 was a time where we started to drive the market online, and we have Lauri Kane to interview today and to give you tips and hints about accelerating your growth online and in your practice. What drives your team, what drives the market. But there are some high priorities, some things that work, some things that don't work. So today we're going to talk about the best-selling products, what categories, and the key success. So stay tuned. If you miss any of our webinars, you can go to beautifulforever.com. But stay till the end. We will take questions. We have a great lineup of experts and key opinion leaders up and coming in the next few weeks, which is really exciting. If you have daily challenges or questions that you need answered, we'd love to address them. So just let me know whatever they are. We might even create a webinar around what you're thinking, because you're not the only one. Everybody, thinks they're the only one, but it turns out that everybody has the idea. So don't forget to complete the post survey and let us know how we can help you. We really do like a suggestion box, like we want you to have one in your office and practice. We have one right here. So you can email us and it'll be private. So we're happy to help you to be successful. And it's free education through Beautiful Forever University. And Lauri Kane is with us today. And I won't say she's in the business for over 30 years because she looks too young, right? But she's everything from practice manager to administration, cosmetic surgery, high-end practice, med spa, and she's a patient educator as well as a coordinator. And she does the practice marketing. She does the med spa skin services, programs and specials, and hiring the staff and training the staff. And she and her husband, Dr. Kane, are experts and are really dedicated and devoted to this industry, to growth, to development, to success. And that's why we asked Lauri Kane to come back to join us today, because we always have really interesting, high-level discussions on what's happening, what are the keys to success, and what we can share with you today live. So welcome, Lauri.
Oh, thank you. Happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So, there's so many things trending now, as you and I both know. Let's talk about, since we have on the screen, we talk about the Zoom makeover. I think that's a cool concept and a cool idea. Tell us a little bit about tell us a little about the Zoom makeover, and then we'll go into the rest.
Sure. And if you hear this noise, it's snow plows out my window. So the snow is dramatically falling and the snow plows are actively working out there.
We don't hear it, so you're okay.
Yeah, that's good. I wish I could take credit for the Zoom makeover, but a patient actually emailed me, a longtime patient, saying, "Oh my God, I'm a nurse. I need a Zoom makeover like ASAP." And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to steal that phrase. I'm sure other people have used it, but I thought it was great. What's happening in our industry is our MediSpa, our injectable practice is booming. I think along other people's plastic surgery practices. And that's because we're in front of computer screens. We're looking at ourselves on a daily basis and we're saying, how do I look? And people are really can't stand how they look on Zoom. We've learned that our practice really has a huge injectable practice. And the Zoom makeover is basically, a combination of skincare as well as fillers. And we use Dysport and we use the Jeuveau. And you get these instant makeovers through all these, very easy services and procedures. So it's, we're very, very busy with both our skin line, our facials, our hydrofacials, our micro needling. They're all extremely packed with patients coming in.
And it's interesting. So people are not nervous about coming in at all, wearing a mask, being COVID, friendly.
I think during the COVID time period, we really sent out emails showing people exactly what our office looks like, how we put up plastic screens, what our protocols were. My estheticians are dressed in PPE, like they're completely covered. When they take care of a patient, the MediSpa rooms have been stripped of all bedding. We're using all paper that could be disposed of immediately. So there are a group of people for sure that are waiting it out. But I would say the majority of people have decided I need to go for it because I can't stand looking at myself anymore. And they really have become a very active group. And so we're very, very busy. We take a lot of precautions when Dr. Kane does the injectables. He's in a PPE gown. We make our patients wash their hands before, take their temperatures. So we're very strict here with masks and cover up. So people feel very safe. And actually people have written reviews online telling people how safe it is to come into our office. And our office, sometimes people say, this is the first place I've come to over food shopping. They'll say, this is my first outing and we knew we'd probably be the safest with you. So people feel really comfortable coming to our office.
That's great. I guess, being a medical office, being that you've been doing this for so long, that they trust the two of you and you have very loyal patients. So, you've done a good job up until now. So during these hard times, it has obviously paid off. And, the trends are moving ahead. What happened in 2020, we're not going to forget. Moving forward, it's going to be a new normal. And I think, Zoom will still be very, very, important. I don't know how the stock did today, but they've been doing amazingly well. And, and then there is, all of the work at home, all of the people who are on, whether it's Zoom or other modalities. Then it's also shopping. If somebody can get something mailed to them or they can do curbside, as you and I know, we're busy, we're working, we have, obligations at home as everybody else does. So, when I can call and pick up something curbside, it's just so easy, COVID or not. So is there a percentage of online orders that you're getting when it comes to the retail, opposed to people coming in, parking, getting out of the car and coming inside to pick up reorders of their products?
Believe it or not, we're an old-fashioned traditional type of office. So we actually don't have much online sales. And mainly because our skin line, our skin products are all prescription based. We deal with Dr. Zainobaji's line. And so the majority of those products are prescription, and we require people to have been a patient within the past year because of the prescription nature. But we do get a lot of tremendous calls to say, can I pick it up curbside? So we get the calls and we bring it down to their car, when they want the sale. So we've been doing quite a bit of that, but we don't really do a whole lot of online, to be honest.
Okay, because looking forward, there could be another shutdown. I hope not. So I wonder what everybody would do and everybody to be prepared for it. But that's something you and I could talk, about offline, about potentially putting things on the website, which are not expensive to do. Years ago, it used to be tens of thousands of dollars to create shopping carts, but now they make it really easy with Shopify and some other good options. But when you talk about the virtual, and we talk about virtual consults when it comes to your skincare and your retail, how is the virtual working now, or is it really slowing down for you?
We have converted all of our virtual into real patients coming in. Like I'm saying, once we were able to open, we have been totally seeing patients as if we didn't have COVID. I know that it sounds odd, but we're that busy. So we're not doing anything virtual. I just had a person call me today. It wasn't for skin, it was for breast augmentation. And she goes, I don't know how someone does a breast augmentation on a virtual screen. I said, I know, I'm a real hands-on kind of, office. We really, when it comes to breast augmentations, we really go over implants a lot and working in with the patient with implants. So I said, I don't know how you would do a virtual breast augmentation either. So, so I have to say, I know people are doing a lot of virtual things, but again, I guess just much more traditional style office where people are used to, we have a very warm, inviting office. It's like, you feel like you've just walked into our home when you come to our office. People love coming to our office, and it's an outing for them. They don't really want to do a virtual screen because the type of environment we have created is so warm. My staff is so friendly. Everybody knows your name, and they value that tremendously. So I think we have our loyal following, and I've never found, during the COVID period, we did the virtual, but then we stopped immediately as soon as we opened. So we stopped the virtual.
Well, I think each practice and where you're located makes a difference. So understanding your patients' preferences and helping, for you to identify their needs, you've done that. And so your patient is, following along with you and Dr. Kane and coming in and feeling safe. And that's great. Not every area, like right now in LA and New York, maybe they're not as busy in the office, but you do a lot of good, promotions. And I guess the patient loyalty pays off. So you've been doing this for many years, and I think people are just feeling very secure, which is great, and having them feel like they're coming to their own comfortable home or your home, and they're there, and everybody knows their names. Most of this starts at the top with you and Dr. Kane, Lauri. It's how you developed your staff, how you've trained them, how you continually train them and work with them. And I don't know how often, maybe you want to tell us a drop about that when it comes to, we'll focus on, I guess the retail and your med spa, because I know you have lots of hats that you wear. But, I think that, that's something that I think practices and med spas need to learn, is that you need to put the time in. It's your business. It's like spending money on your business to get, happy patients. Well, you have to have your staff happy. To have, happy patients, you have to have happy staff, because
Right.
they're the ones meeting and greeting and talking. You're doing amazing consults, doctors doing amazing work. But if somebody at the front really turns them off, or is nasty, or is not doing the right thing, people won't come back. So what is your pearls or keys for success when it comes to your staff in your med spa?
Yeah, I think Dean and I have a very engaging type of personalities, and spend super quality time with patients and our staff. We're the mentor for our staffs. As you say, it comes from the top. And, if we're not engaging, then your staff isn't going to be engaging. So, we have over the years have really developed this very caring, warm, sincere feeling with our patients. And I think the key is that we're very honest with our patients, and we will only provide a service that we think the patient really will benefit from and will need, and the results that they'll get. So we don't oversell any patient. We really spend the time to understand the patient. And I think our staff understands how we do things, and they have become part of that as a natural understanding of how we work with our patients. And that's how we want our staff to deal with patients. And we really only hire people that are that kind of personality. I mean, if you got a cold fish in your office, she doesn't belong there, or he doesn't belong there. So you know, we are all service, and you have to provide that service. You have to care. You have to be warm. And my staff has to understand that. I happen to have a new employee at the time right now. And I actually just spent about an hour with her today. She and another staff member are the people who respond to my website inquiries. And she's been with us about 4 weeks now, and my staff have basically trained her, but I never sat down to train her. And I actually sat down today for the first time and really spent quality time, talking to her. And a phone call came over while we were talking, and happened to be about a breast augmentation. And I was listening to how she was talking to that patient. And I said, put that patient on hold, like quietly to her. And I took over the phone call. I said, put her on hold. I said, now listen to the way I talk to this patient. And she goes, and I spent about 20 minutes talking to this patient, and I immediately sold the patient on, giving us the consultation and coming in. And she goes, and, when she hung up, she goes, wow, like that was amazing. So I said, you need to spend more time in the back with me with patients, so you understand the way Dean and I relate to our patients, so that you can relate to that patient over the phone the same way. So you really have to, from a owner point of view, you really have to provide that mentoring to your own staff. You can't expect the staff to know, well, this is the way you're supposed to treat a patient if you don't. I mean, I just went into a deli next door, and it happens to be the best deli we have. It's a Jewish deli, and it's the best one we have here. They were so rude, and I hadn't been there in a while. And I'm thinking, what is wrong with this management? Like, I won't go there again. I don't care if they're the best deli in town. The rudeness was obnoxious. So it's like, you gotta be nice. You have to be nice. You have to care. You have to be sincere. My staff, my MediSpa staff are super well trained. Again, we focused on Dr. Obaji's line, and we take them. Dr. Obaji has been here, or we've taken them to Dr. Obaji, and so they are highly, highly trained esthetician in the skin line that we use, and they're very versed. And if they're not, then they actually bring me and Dean into the patient's room and say, what do you think? We're having stubborn issues here. What's your take on this? So, again, the training of your staff is crucial to really know their product lines, to give the patients a lot of time. We do a lot of different facials. A lot of the hydrofacial is kind of what it has like just taken off. Hydrofacials are amazing. And, I think, again, my staff gives them a full-blown facial, hydrofacial. There's no half-hour facials in my office. It's, a patient is booked for at least an hour, at least, for their full time. So they have time to go through the facial, sell them skin products. I think if you try to cram in your patients, like, okay, every half hour or something, it's just not going to work. You're not going to sell the patient. But if that esthetician has this really nice rapport, and you get to know the patient, they get to talk, chit chat, maybe a lot of downtime there, but that rapport, again, is what the loyalty brings you. And you sell more when the person can trust the person they're talking to.
Yeah, that's very valuable information, and it is very true. I mean, everything from the training to spending the time. So they're actually doing a consult if the patient is new. And if the patient's not new, then most patients have a series of facials or peels. How do you
exactly
work your programs?
Yeah, it's interesting. We used to sell the pack. This is an interesting thing that COVID has changed in our world. We used to have we used to sell packages, 3 hydrofacials, 3 peels, 3 whatever, mix and match facials and peels. So we used to sell them as a package. And and this is an interesting lesson that I've learned through the whole COVID thing, is that my staff had done such a great job of selling packages that when we shut down and I looked at what my outstanding that patients had its credits on our account, it was astounding. It got me very nervous because I think packages are great, but there's a double-edged sword to packages in this day and age. So, you sell 3, you sell 4, and if people say, well, I can't come in anymore because I'm afraid to come in for the COVID situation, or, people are going to start asking for refunds. And so it becomes a very, like I said, double-edged sword that I've stopped selling packages. And I've actually have worked ever since we opened in May. I have made my staff go back to every patient that has a package and say, you need to get them in here and finish up these packages. And now we only sell 1 facial at a time, or 1 laser hair at a time. I will not pre-sell packages any longer because of the fear that I had during our shutdown, that people no longer have their jobs, or, money is tight. I want a refund. And I wound up having to give, some refunds back as a result of people having those issues. So one lesson I have learned financially is I've become very conservative. People are used to wanting to buy a package, and I'm saying, I'm sorry, but we're not going to sell. We will price it out as a package. So what we do now, in order to avoid this problem, we say, okay, we're going to give you a package pricing. You could pay for your next one, but you have to schedule it at the same time. I don't want your money on my books any longer, because I want to have you use that facial. So that's how we now function moving forward. I'll give you a package price. You could prepay it, but you have to have a scheduled appointment for that facial.
And that fills the book too. So that's good. And I think it's smart. And it is scary when you think of, wow, what if? I mean, right now we're in a good situation. And by the summer, we should all be fine. But I agree with you as a business owner that I think that's a smart decision. And in a way, maybe they spend more money on products because they're not laying out so much money for packages. Do you see any of that happening?
Yeah, I mean, our product sales are still pretty up there. So we're almost making similar monies. It's not, we're just not making the bulk of money at one time. So it's just spread out over time, which is a much more comfortable financial situation. So you're still getting the same monies, you're just getting it spread out more rather than one big chunk at a time.
And so what happens with patient financing options like Care Credit? So are people still using that for some of their treatments and product sale combined, bundling?
They really use Care Credit a lot. Yeah, I have to say the financing has really helped a lot. My staff is very good at, I just had, we just had happened to have been a Hispanic woman come in and for an injectables, and she wasn't expecting it to be that much money. And, by the time me and I have 2 Spanish employees to help me translate, and, showed her before and afters and showed her a lot of pictures, showed her what she can accomplish, because she was about to walk out the door when we told her the cost. And then when she saw what she could have, and then we said, well, you can finance this if you want to do that today. And she drove all the way from Virginia, an hour and a half to us. And so she wound up saying, yeah, I'll sign up with Care Credit, and boom, we got the sale.
That's
so
great.
Care Credit is fabulous. My office knows exactly how to, do it for them right in the office. And it's very convenient, 5 minutes and boom, you got the financing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. And I wouldn't tell a practice, I tell every practice they should have it. But what I notice is that some practices are more proactive about using it. Like it sounds like you might have waited until she was afraid when she saw the price, and you could have lost her if it wasn't you, working with her. But I think that what we try to teach as consultants, the practices, is to be proactive and offer the patient financing before you even meet a patient. Maybe when they even call, the first thing, one of the things you talk about, because some people are embarrassed. Like she might have been embarrassed. she might have walked out if you weren't as persistent and knowledgeable as you were, and then have translators there. So I think being proactive ahead of time would be very good. And a lot of people don't know that there is an option.
Right.
You know,
No, I agree. I agree. I think, offering the finances before the person walks in the door would, I mean, I'm not shy about telling people prices of surgeries, and prices of things so that, matter of fact, this one was, and matter of fact, I asked that patient too. I said, when she was so surprised at the price, I said, did you ask at my desk, what the cost of things were? And she came up with this ridiculously low price. And I said, that was not my office. Would have said that to you. And so she, so I agree that I like patients educated on how much things cost. Now, I don't like to give a shock value at the time that they finish the consult with me. It's easier to have them know that there's a cost structure there, so that we could get them on the financing.
Yeah, I mean, and if you are tied into any of the EMRs, I mean, a lot of them have care credit as an option. So you can even know the night before when you're confirming the appointments, what the spend limit is and what their finance situation is.
Yeah, we have Next Tech, and its care credit is on Next Tech.
Yes,
exactly.
they are. They're on a lot of platforms. So it's definitely good. And you can have the staff use that ahead of time to almost get people pre-approved without anybody knowing about it. It's nothing behind their back, no social security number, but you can get information about that patient,
Sure.
which is something that, we teach the clients. So when you talk about doing a skincare consult and selling products, are they using any systems like Canfield Visio or any system at all when they do a skin consultation? What is the process, I guess?
When you say a system, what system are you talking about?
Like a camera system to analyze the skin.
Oh, like Visio or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's funny. This Visio machine sitting right next to me. It's in this corner for a long time and it's not being used.
Oh, okay.
No, I thought that would be a catch-all. I mean, when you see the sun damage under the skin, it does kind of give you a shock value to see, oh my God, I have that much sun damage. Our estheticians are really good at evaluating skin. I think having tremendous amount of before and afters to show the real deal, like this is what we can really accomplish. And when you see that dramatic difference between, we do a lot with pigmentation here, tremendous amount of pigmentation problems, especially among Hispanics and African Americans. So we have a tremendous diversity practice of color. And we have a huge, if you even went on my website, you'll see that my website is loaded with people of color because, from Indian to Asian to Hispanic to Black, we have every skin color, not only for just our MediSpa, but for surgeries and injectables, and to show people that, we are a very diverse practice. And so our focus has always been to take care of the person of every ethnic group. And these before and afters is what sells people. They say, oh my God, if you could do this, you could do this for me. And so I think to develop a before and after portfolio is so important than just documenting that the person has sun damage. They already can see the pigmentation on their face. It's a matter of showing them like, I can really do this. I mean, our acne patients I would say acne people are the number one critical. I have gone to everyone. I can't get help. It's just impossible. Yeah. And then they don't trust anybody, and I don't blame them. But we do a lot of acne here, and not on antibiotics. It's strictly with Dr. Abaji's line, and my estheticians are phenomenal at taking care of acne. So before and afters just help tremendously. You have to have good quality photos.
And that's not easy. I mean, you say
God.
it so easily, but it's not easy.
It is so not easy. It's taken years to get there finally, I have
Well,
to say the
I'm glad you're
iPad,
there.
yeah, the iPad is good. I have to say the iPad gives you great skin color, real detail, shows the wrinkles. It's actually, and it's almost pretty stupid easy. You can't mess up too bad with the iPad. So it's pretty good.
So when you're doing a consult and you're showing the before and afters, you're doing digitally on the iPad. You're not
Yes.
showing an actual book, you're showing it digitally.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. We're showing on, yeah, exactly.
So every one of the estheticians has their own iPad with the before and afters.
Yes.
That's
We
great.
do.
And how
Yeah.
often do you change them up and add some new before and afters?
That's tough. That's I have a pile looking at me right now saying, when are you getting to me? Because that's me and my marketing team. Yeah, it keeps getting put on the back burner. It's not easy to update those pictures.
Well, if you have enough and you've been doing it for so
Yeah.
long and you have good photos, that is the key to success. Nobody knows if it just happened yesterday or it happened a year ago.
Yeah.
And you have a diverse ethnic market group, which is great because a lot of practices will come in and see a doctor, with light skin or somebody like yourself doing the consult, and then somebody of color saying, well, they don't understand my skin. How could they
Exactly.
sell me products and services? When I know what you did for 20 years ago to get, and you worked hard to
Yeah.
grow that ethnic market. And I still give you credit for that. And it's still paying off because I'm sure a lot of your business now is probably word of mouth marketing.
It is completely word of mouth, but also, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we do the social media thing. And our website, I'm constantly trying to update. I'm actually do most of the writing for our website to SEO our website.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly updating, more website. The pictures are coming because now my life has slowed down a little bit. So that's coming, more pictures, but you have to constantly be updating your website because our reviews. I mean, that's the other thing what really attracts people to us is the reviews. I'll ask people, why'd you come to us? I mean, there's a zillion plastic surgeons around because your reviews are on top of the line. And we have a very special way of doing that. We have a link. So a patient says, I love what you've done. I go to my front office. I said, send her a link now. Send her a link now to Facebook, to Real Self, to Google to review us. And, we almost get one or probably about three reviews, 4 reviews a week, and I think that's crucial because you can't have a review that was a year ago. You can't have a review that was a month ago. You have to have reviews. And it has to be a diverse review. So,
Sure.
It has to be a review about my esthetician. It has to be a review about Dr. Kane. It has to be a review about my nurse. It's got to be reviews, a diverse level of reviews. That doesn't mean that it's just focused on the surgical patient. It's focused on all aspects of our practice.
Yeah, and your customer service, is 5 star. So, I mean, that alone would, you'd go back to the deli if they were nice to you.
I would. I was wondering if I should, write a nasty review, and I
You
thought,
should.
no, that's just,
You know what?
no,
No,
that's not me. I don't want to hurt anybody else's
yeah,
business.
no, but you have
They're
to be
hurting
honest.
themselves.
When I've done that on Yelp for restaurants reviews, the owners have literally emailed back and they've responded because they are just like us. Nobody wants negative reviews.
Yeah.
So you would be helping them if you did it. It doesn't have to be nasty, but reviews should be honest, as we want everybody to write honest reviews.
Now, for that one, I'm just going to go next door and tell them off.
Okay, that sounds good. You got some potato latkes, I guess. It's Hanukkah.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, when you look at the trends of, 2020, everybody can't wait for New Year's Eve, but when you look at the trends and what you see happening moving forward, what do you see as the trends moving forward when it comes to the med spa changes or growth? What do you see?
Interesting. I'm finding the one growth I see a lot of, and a lot of men, it's really kind of odd, is microneedling with PRP. Men don't like to touch their faces a lot, but certainly they're coming in for microneedling, and we do the PRP. So I'm seeing a big surge. We don't get a huge, and again, it's very strange. We don't get a lot of white men. We got a lot of Hispanic and African-American men who are dealing with their skin. White men don't deal with their skin, but for some reason, I don't know. But again, the ethnic male seems to be very in tune to their skin. So I'm seeing a surge in men, and it is pretty much the millennial men, like in the 30s, but they tend to be in that of ethnic diversity rather than the white individual. So I'm seeing a lot of more men. And the millennials, you know, the young 30 somethings are definitely coming in more. They are definitely more into prevention. So they're starting with skin lines that are just trying to prevent things rather than fix things. So it's an interesting phenomenon with the millennial group, who I would consider from like late 20s into the, you know, good into their 30s. Into looking, they're doing their Botoxes, they're doing some fillers, you know, they're definitely doing their skincare, their facials. So they're, you know, that is a huge trend with the millennials. They're a unique group. They're not an easy group to keep them happy. Matter of fact, I had a review that came over on from one millennial who said, I love Kelly. She did an amazing job. And she gave us, instead of a 5-star, a 4-star. And her criticism was, not that she wasn't happy with our service, but her criticism was, you need to have more videos and more pictures of millennials on your website.
Okay.
Now, she's right. She's right. That was a good criticism. But again, you kind of have to be perfect for millennials. It's like they want perfection. It's hard to meet their level of where they want to be, and they want it pretty quickly and they want it instantly, and you have to, it's hard to meet what their levels of expectations are. So I have to say they're not an easy group to deal with.
Well, they used to everything 24/7.
Yeah.
And they used to mothers like us.
Exactly.
So it's not so surprising. It's just
I just made my 34-year-old son, who left for New York today, oatmeal before he left, you know.
Right. So you're wondering why they're so picky. They become foodies and experts on everything. And they think we know nothing. So I get it. I have a few. One of them is on. So I definitely get that. You know, going back to the men, which is interesting, because I'm actually writing an article right now, and maybe, you know, we'll talk and I'll quote you in the article that's about to be published. With the men's market and the men coming in. That's interesting and great at the same time, because it's always been a very small percentage of our industry have been the men. Yes. It takes them a very long time to make a decision. They need much more education than the women do. They're not looking for the bargains. You know, they might look at their scalp, they might look at their skin, like you're saying now. And I think that has to do with Zoom and video and working from home and looking in the mirror more, or the wife having to, or their other half looking at them more because they're home more lately. Yeah. So I think it's a combination of things, but are they actually buying skincare products? Or what's the trend that you see with the men and products? That's interesting.
I'm not. In our office, I don't see a whole lot of white men buying skin products, but like I said, the majority of men coming to our practice are much more of color. So you know, I don't know why the white individual doesn't come, but the male, like we have Indian men, you know, from India, you know, Hispanic, Black men. So those are the men I'm seeing. I have a few men who come in for injectables, you know, for fillers. And again, not that many. And again, those men tend to be more racially, ethnically diverse. So you're right. We've never had a large number of men come to the practice. And although the white males that are coming are much more liposuction oriented or cool sculpting oriented. So the men who are coming to us for surgery or cool sculpting are white, interesting. But very few are coming for injectables.
So the millennial group and the men group, the ethnic group,
Yeah.
are you bundling products and services together? Do you see an uptick in them using and purchasing again, like a month or two later, products that they're using for skincare?
Well, when we do anything from a peel to microneedling on any person of color, we feel strongly that the skin has to be prepared to accept the injury, because you could get into pretty strong pigmentation issues if the skin's not prepared properly on that person of color. And I think that's why we have such great experience and get the results we get, because we won't go straight from microneedling if that person has any color to their skin. We get them on the Obagi program, because that program really prepares that skin, controls the pigmentation, so that when we go injure the skin on any level, from a peel to a microneedling, then we have controlled the back, when you get the pigmentation upon the injury. And so we control that injury so that they don't hyperpigment after the fact. And so, yes, there is an uptick with the combination of using product, specifically Dr. Zain Obagi's products, with any strong chemical peels or strong microneedling that we do.
So when we talk about Dr. Obagi, I mean, he was always known for his prescription strength. There's the prescription strength with the hydroquinone and the retin-A's, and then there's the over-the-counter cosmeceuticals. The ones that are prescription strength in your practice, people have to come in and they need the prescription and they buy it from you. So it's really, you're prepping the skin with a hydroquinone or a retin-A, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yes. So we have a set program in our office, and I think that's why we're successful with it so well. It does cost a patient to come for their first visit. We charge $75 for their first visit, whether it's with Dr. Kane or whether it's in our MediSpa. There is a one-time $75 charge. We have learned, we keep going back and forth sometimes, but we've learned when the person doesn't pay the 75, they don't show up. So it's that ended. So we always have a $75 specifically for our MediSpa, because people think, oh, well, I'm just seeing an esthetician. But then what we do is we educate them over the phone and say, okay, this is how our skin program works. You pay the $75 over the phone. And when you first come in, you'll be completely evaluated. We will get you on these prescription level products. Because they're so powerful and strong, we start you gradually. So our method is that they are automatically given a 2-week follow-up appointment. They're put on the system on a very low level use so that they could gradually adjust. They come back, they have a 2-week appointment that they come back and see how they've done. Then then there's no charge. There's no other future charges to come back into our office. So once you're a patient, there's not a future visit charge. So we purposely designed it so that they come in 2 weeks later, we up the level of using these prescription levels. Then they come back again 2 weeks after that. Then they come back maybe 1 or 2 months later. But in between all that, then they start having facials and peels and hydrofacials. So they're captured in, because all of a sudden in 1 month, they're seeing results. We definitely see results with this system in exactly a month. And then they move forward to doing facials and peels and other services. And the system that we created really, really works because we are following them and making sure that they come back for their appointments and they have a set appointment before they leave, so that we have really good follow-up. And that is key to achieving really good results, is having excellent follow-up. If you don't, you lose them. They'll say the system didn't work, because you didn't follow up with them. And that is, I think, the number one challenge, but the number one key to success.
Absolutely. I think the compliance part, and holding them accountable to come in, the every 2 weeks, and them seeing results after a month is great. So what is the average spend for somebody new walking through the door, when the product, not the services, when they leave with a bag of skincare products? What is the average person spending the first visit?
It's interesting because my two estheticians do two different things. One esthetician, and I let them do their own thing because it works for them. One esthetician can sell like a lot of product at once. The cleanser, the toner, the prescription products, the moisturizers, so that could go up to $600, $700. Then you have another style which is a good style because people my estheticians get a good feel for the financial status of these patients. So then you get a sense of, well, I just want to take care of this problem. I don't need all the other fluff. So the three main products we need for the pigmentation issues or acne, well, not acne, but pigmentation, is going to run around $250. But what my esthetician does is she makes up these little samples of the cleanser and all the little products so that people get to try it over those 2 weeks. And what she winds up doing is selling quite a bit, because even though the initial sell is only $250, because she gave them these little pods of samples, so when they come in 2 weeks later, then they can afford another $250. So in the end, they're still getting a sale of about $500, $600 a person. It's just spread over a 2-week period. But it also makes the patient doesn't feel like they're plunking down $500, $600 at a time.
Right. And not everybody could just write a check or use a
Right.
credit card. And that's, again, patient financing. They opened up to spas and to products, which is great. So if somebody just wants to spend $300 or whatever the minimum is in your practice for the skincare, they can use Care Credit for that too, if they really need it, but they can't afford it.
Yeah.
Which is good. And most practices don't use it in that way because it wasn't the traditional way.
No, we have $75. Some people use their Care Credit to pay their consultation fee, $75. So yeah, no, we use it a lot.
That's great. I give you credit for that. But how do you help the skincare consumer find you? Is it from your newsletters? Is it, because that's your internal database, or do you find it's from externally and all of your, posts on social media?
To be honest, I think it all works. I think you've got to do it all. Word of mouth is for sure important. Putting your before and afters on Instagram. We do a lot of posting on Google My Business. You have to do it all. It's just, you need to have your patient testimonials who go online with, I'll have patients say, I love my results. And I'll say, would you mind doing a video with me? And they say, yeah, I'll do a video with you. And, just explain how did your face feel after this facial, and we post it on Instagram, and, those kinds of things really spreads. And we do, weekly email blasting. Right. So we have a database of about 30,000 people on our weekly blast, and we send out videos, educational videos, how you use skin products, sales, specials. So, from a marketing perspective, it was that, that 6 points of contact, that you learned a long time ago. Like, it used to be, it had to be radio, it had to be TV, it had to be this. Now it's, it's got to be social media, it's got to be an email news, it's got to be on all the different posts around town. And, I mean, it's got to be word of mouth. You got to have good reviews. You know, you can't drop a ball in any direction. Not in this day and age. It's hard. It's harder to work today.
Yeah.
You know, gosh, we go way back before websites and internet, and so it was a lot easier putting an ad in a newspaper than it is what we have today. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the world is 24/7. And, you know, if you want to get the millennials and you want to get the generation X, Y, Z, I mean, you know, they're all looking for information that talks to them about them.
Yeah.
And it is hard. It is not easy. When somebody said, you know, I don't want to update my website, or I don't need to be on social media, you know, as a consultant, I tell them what you're saying. You need to be everywhere, even if it's just a little bit and not as aggressive. And doing as much as you're doing, because they might not have a team. You can hire people to do so much, but there needs to be some input from the practice. We have some practices that just say, do it. But, you know, we prefer people like yourself that, you know, would give us some input and understand the business enough. And actually, it's time consuming. You know, you're busy all day.
It's huge. I
And
mean,
it's a full-time job in itself, and most practices, full-time marketing people don't do a great job because they're doing so many other things.
No, and let me tell you, Dean just finished a full half day of surgery today, you know, because of the snow, things got canceled, and he spent the rest of the afternoon writing blogs for Real Self. The whole afternoon. That's all I did was answer question and answers for Real Self. So, I mean, he's been active in too. I mean, it's not just me doing all the work. He really spends the time. He'll do all the Q&As for Real Self. And, you know, you have to have input. You cannot drop it in any direction, not in today's world at all. So.
No, and I think that you guys, you know, do a great job. I know that, you know, you were promoting products when there was nothing else to promote during the initial part of the pandemic. You did a great job with that, and that kept product sales, you know, ongoing. So I think everybody should learn, you know, some of these type of systems and programs and understand that it is a 24/7 world and you have to be all over. So, you know, are there any key takeaways from today that you would say you want to kind of put closure on it, because I've kept you longer than I had asked you?
We always like to talk. It's not even a problem here on my end. What is a good key? You know, I really think videos, the thing that I think I've once mentioned this before, that what really engages people are videos. And once you start the process, it's hard to get the concept of doing a video, a 1-minute video, you know, off the ground. But once you start producing your own videos, you don't need a marketing, you don't need a graphic designer, you just need your phone. I suggest a ring light, which I have looking at me, you know, to highlight my face. And you just have someone videotape you, you know, even if it's someone doing videotape a facial, videotape your esthetician, like doing a microdermabrasion, you know, do a video of the doctor injecting a filler, or take it into the OR and have the doctor say what they're doing today. It doesn't have to be this, you know, polished video. It just has to be communicated and engaging. And once you start that, you realize, because now patients say to me, I love your videos. I love your videos. I can't wait for your next videos. Oh. So it really is very engaging. People don't want to read today. They want to listen and watch and be entertained. So I would say, if I had one pearl, it'd be start getting yourself into doing videos and get them on your website. Put them into your pages, like in your website. All my videos are on, they're not on just a video blog. They're not just on YouTube. They're actually embedded on my pages in my website. So, you know, the first paragraph down, you have a video of me or Dean talking about that procedure, you know. And so if a person sees a video and they're not engaged in reading, at least they've got a video to watch, and it stays on your website. So I can't stress that enough.
No, and videos are the number one now. There's no question. And I think you're right on with that. And today's webinar handout is an article I had published, I believe in Medisthetics, the standards for retail success and developing a strong retail strategy. So for those that are listening or those that do request a copy, we'll be happy to email to them at Cheryl at Beautiful Forever. And there will be some questions that we'll send over to you that were not answered. Several people asked questions and they actually were already answered, which was great. And we always do have great conversations. I always enjoy speaking to you. We'll have to get back together in the new year, and Happy New Year to you. And thank you for your time always, and all your enthusiasm, and have a great new year.
Yeah, you too. Hopefully we have a better 2021.
Well, it has to be better.
Yeah, that is true.
And enjoy New Year's. Have a good New Year's.
A healthy and a safe one.
Thank you, Lauri. Great to see you again.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So today, you need to know your business, you need to know your staff, you need to know your numbers. So you need to keep your business healthy and understand. And as Lauri was even mentioning, we're talking about is satisfied patients are critical, but you need to be profitable. So to ensure that you're meeting your patients' expectations, as we talked about today, and growing your practice at the same time. There's a lot of marketing strategies of some we touched on today. The digital resource guide, Beautifully Profitable, with the discount code PROFIT, you can get 50% off and download it today. So start learning today, maybe over the holidays, start reading it and have some meetings. There's lots of tips from the Beautifully Profitable book that you can bring to your practice and bring to practice marketing meetings. And if you like a complimentary session, I am happy to talk to you about expanding your practice or starting your practice. We do mentorship programs as well. You can email or call us, and we really do want to hear from you. We do want you to fill out our survey. And if you have any ideas for new topics, not that we're running out of them, but we always like to talk about things that you want to hear. So feel free to get in touch with us. And if you save the dates, we have some amazing key opinion leaders and experts with proven success strategies coming up, with retail products, building your brand, legal issues, hot topics in dermatology, marketing and branding, aesthetics, in plastic surgery. So we have a huge, amazing variety of upcoming speakers, and I'm really excited to be able to share it with you through Beautiful Forever University. So thank you for your time and look forward to hearing from you. Please fill out those surveys and ask your questions. We want to hear them.